This is Lucifera.
This is Entropy.
Today we are going to talk about the strategies that you can use against the Christians. These are strategies that Entropy and I have used.
Over the past 3 years, for me, and the past about 2 years for Lucy, we have been dealing with this as far as the Christians coming to our own page. Of course, both of us, even Lucy before I, have been getting into these conversations with Christians. Conversations that, of course, normally lead into arguments. I have found myself that a reasoned debate with a Christian is normally a completely fruitless venture. If you want to poke holes in Christians' faith, I have found more effective than showing how ridiculous some of the things that they believe in are. More effective than that is to poke holes in their own personal motivations. And you can do that with the Bible. More effective than the Old Testament is going to be the New. But I would like to talk about some of the things that I've used effectively against Christians from the Old Testament. Let's first start with Genesis chapter 1. In Genesis chapter 1, verses 9 through 13, I'm not going to read these all to you, but in Genesis chapter 1, verses 9 through 13, their Christian God created the earth. Now, in Genesis chapter 1, verses 14 through 19, God creates the sun, the moon, and the stars. Now, if you can get to a Christian that has some level of logic in their mind, you can ask them, is it true that you believe that the earth was created before the sun, the moon, and the stars? Of course, this is not possible. But even if it were, stars, which the description of the stars, let me read this to you. He made the stars also. He made the stars also. That's the end of verse 16. God placed the lights in the expanse of the sky to shine on the earth, to preside over the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. Now, the description of God creating the stars, of course, is after not only the earth, but also the sun and the moon. And of course, anyone who knows anything knows that stars are much older than the earth. I used to use this particular one over and over to try to poke holes in Christians' belief system. If you can poke holes in their belief system, then you've done something. Our primary weapon against them is their own book, the Bible. So use it. And now we're going to try to help you to do this effectively. This, of course, is a group effort. Whatever is effective for you against Christians, let us know, because certainly we don't know everything that works, but we're just giving suggestions that have worked for us before. This one in particular would probably only work for someone who is a logical person who's sort of teetering on the edge and not sure whether or not they want to continue to believe in this ludicrous story of this God, the demiurge is what it is, He just thinks he created the universe. This God who creates the universe around the planet Earth, this geocentric universe that died several hundred years ago. And these are all, by the way, certain things that are scientific fact, like the Earth revolves around the sun, and that the stars are much older than the Earth. These are things that mankind has known for hundreds of years. So this isn't some new conspiracy against people, adopted by NASA or something. Now, the thing is, we could go chapter by chapter by chapter in the Bible and virtually find anything, find something in virtually any chapter of the Bible that's wrong. That's wrong. That's just, some made-up nonsense. What we're going to do for you is we're going to have several different links in the description box. So, use them. The first link you're going to see down here is going to be the Skeptics Annotated Bible.com. This is a real great tool because it goes verse by verse, chapter by chapter. Of course, it has a search tool, so it's very easy to use, but it will give you the discrepancies that you can find all throughout the Bible, the Old Testament and the New. If you look in chapter 2 and 3 in the story of the Garden of Eden, you'll also find that their God lied to Adam and Eve and told them that if they eat the fruit on that day, they will die. And that the serpent, however, did not lie to Adam and Eve. This is a core Gnostic belief, that the serpent is actually the bringer of knowledge. Some people think of him as Enki, the Anunnaki, and many Gnostics, of course, perceive the serpent as a bringer of wisdom and knowledge. But you could look at these yourself. I also have a video on it. I'm not going to put a link, but I have a video, an old video, called The Serpent in the Garden Was Not Satan. Well, regardless of who the serpent in the garden was, the serpent in the garden was not against mankind. He was a Prometheus-like figure, a Luciferian type figure. So, moving on from that, let's look at other verses in the Bible that you can use. Let's talk a little bit about motivation. The Bible is quite clear in the New Testament about judging others. Let's get this straight. The Bible never says, do not judge others. Let's get specific with this.
Matthew 7:1-3. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way as you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye, and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye?
I oftentimes hear this verse, do not judge lest ye be judged. Well, the Bible's not telling you not to judge anyone. The Bible's telling you, don't judge someone hypocritically. Do not call somebody something that you yourself are. So, I want to get that out of the way so that you don't feel, first of all, that somehow you're doing something wrong by judging these hypocrite Christians and saying something to them. Okay? The Bible does not tell you, don't judge anyone. As a matter of fact, it's very specific and gives very good advice Paul does. He gives good advice to the early churches. This I have found is one of the most effective ways that I have gotten to these Christians, gotten through to them. I used this verse a couple of times on Mr. Vigilant Christian's videos. I was then addressed by other Christians, and I came back at them quite effectively, so effectively that he has now blocked me. So let me tell you, first of all, Lucy and I have a major handicap that most of you, if not all of you, do not have. Our major handicap, and it's not something that either of us are going to change anytime soon, is our screen names. So when they can't attack us any other way, they start attacking us because we're servants of Satan. So, I mean, we can't possibly, read and interpret the Bible because, in my case, I have 666 and she has, and her name is Lucifer. So, you're going to be more effective at this, actually, than we are, just because of your screen names. They can't automatically go there the way they do with us. And I myself, I'm going to be changing my screen name. Not anytime real soon, but I am going to change it. I figure I have it for a purpose, and I have it for a purpose for a certain length of time. So let's get into where I was going with this. Paul, who is, as any of you who have listened to me before know, that I am not a big fan of Paul. However, he does give practical advice to his churches. 1 Corinthians chapter 5. Let's start with verse 11 through 13. But now I am writing you not to associate with anyone who calls himself a Christian, who is sexually immoral. And any of you out there know some Christians out there who are sexually immoral? Greedy, idolater, or verbally abusive, or a drunkard, or a swindler. Do not even eat with such a person. For what do I have to do with judging those outside the church? Are you not to judge those inside the church? But God will judge those outside. Remove the evil person from among you. This is in 1 Corinthians chapter 5. So, their judgment of us outside of their church to begin with is wrong. And it's quite clearly laid out as it's wrong. Yet they're not doing what they need to be doing, and that's judging those within their church. If they would do these things, I wouldn't have a problem with the Christian church. They are too busy exposing the Illuminati. Ridiculous. I don't care if some pop singer is a Satanist, and neither should any good Christian. You should be concerned, however, as to whether or not the people you follow on YouTube or the minister down the street is diddling your children. This is something you should be concerned with. You need to judge those inside your church and not worry about whether Beyonce is a Satan worshiper. Who cares? You shouldn't even know who Beyonce is if you're not supposed to be of the world, are you, Christians? So, start judging those within your church, and Lucy and I will stop bothering you. Briefly, outside of using Bible verses that's effective, I can't stress enough, don't get angry. If you get them angry, then you win. If you get them to expose themselves and start ranting and raving and writing numerous times on their own videos and on their own channel, beware of entropy and Lucifera, they are Illuminati members, blah, 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 then you win. You win. Because no one wants to go to a channel and read something over and over and over again. Even Christians who are way out there will get sick of that. And I want to firmly believe that there are a lot of Christians who just aren't doing their homework and who are just sort of wrapped up in this whole entertainment, this itching ears nonsense. I want to firmly believe that they're out there. They are out there. I mean, there's some of them at least.
There are also Christians who go against the Freemasons, and we know that the Freemasons have, we know that the Founding Fathers were Masons.
Conspiracy ideas have somehow incorporated their way into Christianity. And this is going to be a huge downfall, but it's also going to be something dangerous for people who think, who resonate with the message that Lucy and I are saying. Because they're going to go against us. They already are. If you had any idea over the past 3 years for me, over the past, I guess, 3 or 4 years for you,
Yeah.
Online, how many people who call themselves Christians and what they've said to us, if you have any question about that, there's a few of them on my discussion page. So you look at my discussion page. Before I forget, I also want to mention a friend of ours, Truth Seeker. He did a recent video on just this topic. So we're going to have a link down here in the discussion box again, so that you can go see Truth Seeker's video. He has a lot of very good suggestions and makes some very valid points about Christianity. Keep in mind, though, you're not gonna stumble across, unfortunately, in this day and age. That's just the way it is now. I'm not trying to be condescending, but the truth of the matter is, you are not going to stumble across a whole lot of intelligent Christians. Not anymore. Not today. If they were intelligent, number one, they probably wouldn't be online. And number two, they wouldn't be out there, saying Jesus is Lord over and over and over and over again. So, I mean, you're much more likely to stumble across intelligent Christians in real life, and the intelligent ones that you stumble across in real life would be the ones that you could actually have a rational discussion with and help them to see things rationally. People do not want to give up their faith. It is something that they hold on to like it is to them giving up their identity. And so it's not something that's easily done. Certainly, you're going to be much more likely to approach somebody who's already found the Christian faith wanting in one way or another.
When they say, I am hateful, well, Jesus got pretty upset with the Pharisees. I mean, righteous anger. He's tossed tables and chairs.
The Christians are trying to shut you down with what they say. So they're going to say, you're hateful. You're so full of hate. But it's a good point there. And we have an entire video on Christians are the modern day Pharisees, in which give a number of different verses. You can find them for yourselves, but these two videos give a number of different verses in which the Christ went against the Pharisees. Now, pick and choose your battles is probably important as well. Primarily, just remember, you're in the right, okay? You're in the right. But if you feel that you're, starting to bully somebody, and sometimes that's going to happen, pull back, because you're going to be in the wrong. Pick your battles. Most importantly is to go against these kinds of people who put these videos out, because these people, modern day Pharisees, they get millions and millions of views, tens of thousands of subscribers. What's funny is I'm told that they are David against the Goliath, which is somehow Lucy and I, because they've got this just insane idea that we are, I don't know, some rich Illuminatis, that we somehow control things behind the scenes. Anyway, just make sure, number one, don't get angry. You're in the right. When you can use a Bible verse, use it. You have got at your fingertips all the tools you need. You've got Google. Do your research. They tell us to do our research. Do your research. And don't do it to the point of exhaustion either, because once you're doing that, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna say something wrong. I don't talk to just average Christians at all, pretty much anymore, unless they come on my YouTube page.
Regarding the Christians calling us hateful, and I said how Jesus came to the temple and tossed the chairs and the tables. Well, Jesus and also Siddhartha confronted the people of their time, and they were called names too. And so we're facing the same thing today.
Yes, we face it on a regular basis, and all it is about is shutting us down, shutting us down, shutting us down, shutting us up. That's not going to happen, okay? So Christians, if you made it through 22 minutes of this, it ain't going to happen. We're not going to give up. We are going, with our dying breath, we are going to be speaking against you, as long as you continue to exist.
And I would say too that you can try to stop us on YouTube, but we are going to take it to the streets.
You can silence Lucy, you can silence me, but you can't silence an idea. You can't silence a cause. And I'm telling you something right here and right now. I look back over the years, I look at the history of the church, I see how many Gnostics have been killed by this demonic abomination called the Christian church. I see it, and let me tell you something. I'm not going to become a goddamn statistic. I'm not going to be a statistic. Okay? So you are going to lose. I am going to fight with my dying breath against you. And so is Lucy.
We are the rising phoenix. We are a spirit that cannot be destroyed.
Absolutely. This is an idea whose time has come. It's enough, okay? And I know all of you who support this cause you've had enough, just like us, and you're behind it. And great, we need you. We need as many those who go out and stick these people right where it hurts, because it's gone on way too long where people have just allowed the Christian church to walk all over them and then turn around and say, oh, well, they're good people, though. There's good people. There's good Christians. Who cares if there's good Christians? There's good in any group. There's evil in any group. We're referring to Christendom. We're talking about the mentality, not about the people. The people come out against you because they're part of that mentality. You can lie down and allow them to walk all over you, or you can stand up for yourself and say enough. I'm saying enough. Both of us are.
there might be some liberal, well, there are some liberal Christians out there, but they worship the same God.
They take their marching orders from the same slave manual, the Bible. Well, this is getting way too long, as I'm sure it would. And honestly, we've only scratched the surface. We will put in the discussion box several of our videos that discuss these things. We have got hours and hours and hours of this stuff in our older videos, and some of you are familiar with them, some of you may not be. So we'll put them in the discussion box. We'll give you a brief description of each video. And also, of course, remember our friend Truth Seeker, who is also out there doing it. We also our friend Fugitive as well. I'm going to give you a link to. I'm going to just give you a link to both of their YouTube pages, and then you can look. They have excellent videos. They're part of this fight where we are fighting, and not only are we fighting, trust me, we're winning. Once we see them scared enough to put over and over and over again that Lucy and I are some kind of satanic high priest and Illuminati members, when they feel so compelled to put that on their pages, when they have millions of views and tens of thousands of subscribers, we're winning. Don't even think we're not, because we are.
To end this, there's a German phrase: Der Sieg ist unser. The victory is ours.
It's ours. We just have to acknowledge it. Well, this is extremely long, and this is not the last of this weapons of war. We're going to continue with this. This is going to be subtitled How. So that is in How to Fight the Christians. So this is Entropy 666 signing off.
This is Lucifera.
So we will talk to you again. You have a nice end of the weekend, and goodbye.